This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and far. We keeping a foot on the what? The Eeks. We keeping a foot on the what? The Eeks. Let's talk about it, man. See, this is why George Kambosos Jr., I knew he was going to do this. I was just waiting for the opportune time. You show up to Devin Haney's fight. You show up to Gervonta Tank Davis' fight. You basically are talking the right talk, but you're not walking the walk. Let me say it again. You're talking the right talk, but you're not walking the right walk. This man right here has become belt drunk. And this is the problem, and it's basically what we would call the WBC French fry curse. It's a French fry belt. It puts in people's minds that this belt right here gives them exclusion. It gives them basically a clause of exemption against them thinking in their minds erroneously and from a frivolous standpoint that they're a champion, win, lose, or draw. When you win a WBC French fry belt, you are a French fry mind. Let me say it again. When you win a WBC French fry belt, you become a French fry mind. If you notice, George Kambosos Jr. has been speaking differently. He's not talking like the hungry fighter anymore. The hunger is gone. This is no longer the Hunger Games. This is the French fry belt games. When he sat there and disrespected Devin Haney and said his WBC championship is on the same level as the Super Championship belt, which is the real fucking belt. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, When I get at Devin Haney, it's for Gervonta Tank Davis. But outside of Gervonta Tank Davis, I'm not getting on Devin fucking Haney. Because when it's all said and done, they always want to go up against our own. See, this is the problem with black boxing community fan bases. They thought He Knows Everything was against Devin Haney. I was never against Devin Haney. All I said was Devin Haney has an email championship belt, and I'm going to hold serve and hold court to that because he hasn't beaten anybody that is noteworthy. Anybody where you could sit there and say his belt is certified. If he would have fought Gary Russell Jr. and beat him, I wouldn't have shit but give Devin Haney his props, man. I would have given him his ultimate confidence, purpose, and abundance mindset credit. But I can't do that because I know better. And when you're speaking the cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion, you have to live by the truth of the fact of the matter because you speak the truth of the fact of the matter. So that's why I said what I said about Devin fucking Haney, because what I said about Devin Haney is the fucking truth. But we're going to fast forward a little bit because we have to talk about everything else that's associated with boxing. George Kambosos Jr. is ducking the free smoke. You know what we've said about free smoke. If you want smoke, it's free. But you can't smoke for free. If you want smoke, it's free. But you can't smoke for free. If you want smoke, it's free. But you can't smoke for free. If you want smoke, it's free. But you can't smoke for free. If you want smoke, it's free. But you can't smoke for free. You don't want that fucking smoke. Because Gervonta Tank Davis is the most dangerous fight, but he's also the biggest payday. George Kambosos Jr. has let you know he don't want his biggest fucking payday because he knows that what comes with that, he's going to get literally fucking tanked. And see, Rudy Poo and Plum Plum Brains, classic Doten Troglodytes, ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric boxing fans, they're falling off of the strength of, well, look at Devin Haney's last performance. Look at Gervonta Tank Davis' last performance. They're thinking that that's going to be the perfect storm. George Kambosos Jr. ducking these guys, he knows what he saw. He saw in Devin Haney, okay, he ain't going to come in there like Teofimo Lopez. He's going to come in there with some slickster black style. He's going to come in there with boxing ability. So he's going to expose me because you got to understand, George Kambosos Jr. is from the mold, the pedigree, and the variation of Manny fucking Pacquiao. So that's questionable on so many fucking levels. Wasn't questionable against the super duper hyped out variation in i.e. Teofimo Lopez. That shit is fucking questionable when you're talking about a guy who falls under the mold of a Floyd Money Mayweather is style. Now he needs to get back with the Mayweather so he can be crispier than a fucking 3-piece. Once Devin Haney does that, then I'll be right back supporting him 1,000%. Because Mickey Bay is fucking handsome. Mickey Bay is not Floyd Mayweather. Now let's get back to Gervonta Tank Davis. He doesn't want to fight that guy because, like Jeff Mayweather said, Tank got that equalizer, man. No pun intended, Denzel Washington, but he got the fucking equalizer. He can equalize anybody at the lightweight division. George Kambosos Jr. knows that. That's why he doesn't want that fight. And you know why George Kambosos Jr. is leaning towards Vasily Lomachenko is because of what he saw in the fight between Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. Woo-hoo-hoo! Get the notepads out and get to the damn scribbling. See, I'm getting to the meat and the potatoes of this, dog. The real G's, the super real G's, and the ultimate real G's out here in these boxing streets, they get the message, they pay attention, and they fucking listen. I knew George Kambosos Jr. was going to do this because he saw that there was chinks in the armor. But see, even in that fight, he's going to be diluted because Lomachenko was dealing with a shoulder injury. So he's basically not dealing with the same Loma. But Loma can get fucking touched up. In that fight, Loma is a slow starter, and George Kambosos Jr. is banking on that. Because George Kambosos Jr. comes out the gate in the first round. We noticed this in the super duper hype drop variation fight. So he's banking on that. That's why he wants Vasily Lomachenko next. That's why he's leaning towards Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia got PTSD. These are what we call duck tails. Duck tails. There's a stranger out to find you. There's a stranger out to find you. What you do is grab on you some DuckTales. It's a fucking DuckTales, man. Because he's trying to find the weakest links so that he can justify and keep his fucking belts. What made George Kambosos Jr. is going to unmake him. It was the same thing with the super duper hype job variation before him. These guys were hungry. They had what's called the Hunger Games. This is why they rose to where they rose to in their 15-minute of claim to fucking fame. But there's no longer Hunger Games with these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers just want to go out there and basically fight. They don't give a fuck about having Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is not in their pedigree. They've basically enjoyed and ate the spoils, and now they're lazy as fuck. George Kambosos Jr. is going to get exposed from here on out. Because what makes George Kambosos Jr. an interesting fighter is the fact that he's fighting under tension. He's fighting under pressure. Because pressure does what? It bursts his pipes. Or you're best friends with fucking pressure. You can get crushed by the pneumonia of pressure, or you're best friends with the motherfucker. George Kambosos Jr. proved that he's best friends with the shit. But if he's not fighting under pressure, George Kambosos is not going to give you the George Kambosos that you guys expect. Pressure would have been Gervonta Davis, most dangerous, biggest fucking payday fight. He would have got tanked, but you would have seen the best of George Kambosos Jr. because he would have trained like he's training under the fucking fire. He's training under the fucking gun. Devin Haney would have pushed him because it would have been an undisputed fight. Not because of Devin Haney. He's little fucking Devin Haney. He's capping ass fucking Devin Haney. But because of the pressure of the fucking fight. And because of the fact that it's undisputed. So he would have fought like he was under the fucking gun. He would have fought like he was basically in a furnace of fire. But he doesn't want those free smokes. He wants to fight Ryan Garcia because he knows that's a wounded fucking animal, and i.e. having all kinds of mental health disorders and mental health disabilities. And he wants to fight Vasily Lomachenko because of what he thinks he saw in that fight versus the super duper hype job variation. And what's going to ultimately happen to him is what ultimately happened to the super duper hype job variation when he thought he was fighting a fucking cherry. It's a cherry gone wrong. That's the component. That's the unadulterated. That's the cut through color fashion. It's time to keep the foot on the whoop. On the geeks. It's time to keep the foot on the whoop. On the geeks. George Kambosos Jr., I see right through your bullshit and fuck shit, man. But that's the curse of the WBC French fry belt. Once a fighter gets it, once a fighter enjoys it, once a fighter takes it, then what ends up happening is the fighter starts being a DuckTales. A DuckTales. There's a stranger out to find you. There's a stranger out to find you. What to do is grab on you some DuckTales. Woo! They become a fucking DuckTales. Because the WBC French fry belt says, win, lose, or draw, you are still a champion nevertheless. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.